everyone. This is the first real podcast for Cookie and Bees, and I have several things to share with you, which are my 2 current whips, and I have some news about what is coming to the shop this week. So let's begin with this week. I will be releasing my first free pattern, and it is a simple rib knit pattern. And I made this because rib knit is so stretchy and elastic. This is a one size fits pretty much everybody except for babies. It fits both of my girls who are 7 and 9, my husband, and me, which I think is awesome because then I can just knit the exact same pattern for everybody. And this takes, it's fingering weight held double, or you can use DK weight. I really like holding fingering weight double versus using DK because I feel like the 2 strands together really make this really nice tight knitting, and it's like squishy, and it just I like how it, especially if you're using variegated yarn, that it really breaks up the colors, and it's just one of my absolute favorite things to do. And so even though it fits multiple, like a very wide range of head circumferences, I would say 16-inch or more, up to, you know, probably 22, 23-inch head circumference. Of course, depending on how big your head is, depends on how much slouch it will be. My husband is more of like a tight beanie, but it covers his ears still. With my 7-year-old, hers is a little bit more slouchy. And so I will have all those pictures up for you to see on everybody in my family whenever I get this up this week. And I'm hoping it will be Tuesday or Wednesday, but it will definitely be by Friday that it will be up and available in the shop. So that's really exciting. Also in the shop, I have new fabrics cut out and sewn, and so there will be new products in the shop this week as well. And I even have more that I have not cut out yet, so that's also on my agenda this week, is to get new and more spring, kind of now focusing on spring fabrics, though I do have one new super cute fabric that is winter to put in the shop this week, and I hope that y'all like it. Should I show it? I'm not sure if I should or not. I guess I could. Let's see, do I have, I guess I cut it all. They're sitting like on the other side of the table over there. So I guess I'll just leave it as a surprise. That will be in the shop later this week as well. At least before Friday, but hopefully before. So my whips, I should have taken a photo to share, but I had a cast on back in late September, early October, this pattern, and I love the designer. Her name is Andy Sutherland, and she makes amazing cardigans and sweaters. And so she had a knit along for this pattern on Ravelry, and if you had finished it by November 1st, she would give you a coupon code to use to get any free pattern in her shop. And I'm like, I'm all over that. So I quickly bought some inexpensive yarn and it came in the mail, and I thought, okay, it's going to be fine. So let me back up. This sweater is knit with sport weight yarn, which I don't have any. And so, which is why I ordered some more economical yarn to use for this sweater. And I got it in the mail, and I thought it was going to be fine. I had gotten a black yarn to use for the main body, and then I'd gotten this, I guess it's like a medium gray color to do the spider web. And I had also, just in case I didn't like the gray, I had also bought this really like deep red color to do for the, just in case as an alternative for the spider web, thinking maybe that combo would be better. So before I cast on, I actually knitted a swatch to not only test my gauge, but I did lines with the gray and the red to see which one I liked more. And I did like the gray more. There was nothing wrong with the red. I think I just preferred the contrast between that gray and the black. So I finished the yoke, super easy. The directions are great. Finished the yoke, finished the whole body, finished one sleeve up until the ribbing for the cuff. And then life happened and I had to set it aside, and I didn't finish by November 1st. And since in my head, my deadline was come and gone, then it didn't exactly get put in timeout, but I opened the shop and at the end of October, so then that kind of took time, and you know, I just didn't get around. I wasn't doing that much knitting really the past month. And so this past, was it like a week ago? Yeah, I guess about a week ago, I pick up the sweater again. I'm like, I'm just gonna whip this out real fast. I mean, it's basically one sleeve, finish the ribbing, and then the neckline. Super fast, super easy. I'll be done in just a couple of days. And I couldn't quite remember the sleeve that I was working on, how long it was. And so to know if I needed to start the ribbing right then or knit a couple of more rounds of stockinette. So I put on the sweater and I really did not like the yarn. It was so itchy and uncomfortable. I couldn't do it. And I thought, I was trying to talk myself into liking it, because there was something wrong with the sweater, or like the pattern. The pattern was fine, but the yarn, I just couldn't, I couldn't get into the yarn. And so I told myself, you know, it's a thicker sweater. You'll only wear it when it's really cold, in which you'll probably wear a shirt underneath. And if I was wearing a long sleeve shirt, then I wouldn't feel the itchy, but I just couldn't do it. So I ripped the whole thing out. I frogged the entire project, and now I have all this yarn that I probably won't use. So I might destash it. I'm just not into it. And I don't want to bash anybody, or not anybody, but I don't want to bash the yarn, because this yarn seems to be a very popular yarn, and some people love it. Totally cool. It was not for me. It was definitely just not for me. So I'm really sad that I frogged the whole thing. I still want to make this pattern. I'm just going to have to do some yarn hunting and maybe even pick some colors that are a little bit more fun, because I know for her example that she knit on this, the body of her sweater is like this purple color, like a medium to dark purple, and then she used like a lime green for the webbing, which looks really, really cool. So, you know, maybe it was just meant to be that I needed to do something in like more fun colors. So it's not a total loss. Plus, you know, looking on the bright side, it did take one whip off my needles, even though it was the opposite direction that it should have been. That whip is now no longer active. So it took me from 3 whips down to 2. So I am going to show this project bag. So I do currently have one window bag in the shop. This is probably one of my favorite styles to use for myself, because then I don't have to open up the bag to see what project is in there. I just see it through the window. And I need to make a couple of more of these and put in the shop, because I do think people really like this style. And it took me a while to figure out how to make all of the seams on the inside completely hidden, which they are. And so it is a very tidy bag, and it just looks really, really nice. I mean, not to like toot my own horn, but it's a really nice looking bag. All right, so what I have in here is another pattern, also by Andy Satterlund, and it's the Vian, and it's a DK weight cardigan. And I'm knitting this with Hypnotic Yarns. It was the September Yarnable colorway. So if you aren't familiar with Hypnotic Yarn, she has a monthly yarn subscription, which she calls Yarnable. And let me make sure it doesn't fall off the needles. So I started this back then, and I just haven't finished it, but I do really, really like it. So this is the back. Let me turn it around. So it will be like this. Maybe that will make more sense. It's lace, so it's super stretchy. I know it looks tiny. I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna fit into that thing. But look how much it stretches. So I think it's going to block out quite nicely. And if I remember correctly, I could totally be wrong, but I think this colorway was called New England, something like that. But it's a very fall yarn with cranberries and greens and golden goodness and stuff like that. So that's the back. And I started the front, but that side is complete for the moment, but I'm still working on the left front side. It's super fast. Not only because it's DK weight, but because it's just a really easy cardigan, and you knit it with negative ease, several inches of negative ease actually. What does she say? Yeah, 0 to 3 inches. So I'm more, the size that I picked, I'm more in the 3-inch negative ease. So I hope it fits. It should. So I'm excited to finish that. This is kind of on hold for the moment because my other WIP that I have is takes priority at the moment. But as soon as it's done, then I'm going to finish knitting this bad boy, and I think I should be able to have it done by the end of January. No problem. And only because this one's going to take a while. Now, well, first let me talk about the bag real fast. This is my large drawstring bag, and a while back on Instagram I had asked people what their preference was for drawstring bags, if you wanted it a little bit slouchy or if you preferred your drawstring bag to have a little bit more structure. And I had posted this bag plus a different one, and pretty much hands down everyone said that they preferred something with a little bit more structure to the bag, that would stand up like basically on its own if nothing was inside. Now this one is standing up on its own because I have a project in there. But I have to say, I dig this super slouchy style bag. This is probably, since I started using it, I'm doing a larger project in here, which I'll talk about in a second. Totally dig it. I mean, it's so easy to carry around, and it's easy to get in and out. I feel like I can like turn it down. I mean, you can still do that with the structured one. You can easily turn it down, but I guess I'm just going against the grain that I really like the slouchy version. And then inside, of course, I have a slip pocket, which is, I think, mandatory for every single bag. Okay, so let me start over for a second. I am knitting the Find Your Fade shawl by Andrea Mowry, who is definitely one of my favorite designers. I've knit a couple of her sweaters, and they're just my favorites. Her patterns are very easy to follow and just always turn out very nice. So if you aren't familiar with the Find Your Fade shawl, it is a massive shawl. Like, wrap yourself multiple times with it, which is why I'm so excited. And of course, it takes quite a bit of yarn because it's so big, like 1,600 yards. a long time ago, whenever I got the pattern, I had already picked out 4 skeins of yarn to use, and I just hadn't gotten around to knitting it yet. And so I received Hypnotic Yarns Advent minis. So Hypnotic Yarn had offered back in April an Advent kit, and which included 24 20-gram mini skeins and then a full 100-gram skein to open on the 25th day, which is a lot of yarn. A lot of yarn. And so I thought, what am I going to do with all of these minis? It would be cool to put them all together in one project, which is actually what I did last year with her Advent kit. I made a sweater. So if you also received Hypnotic Yarns Advent calendar, I'm going to show what I've worked on, and I've already gone beyond, because now December 2nd, I've already opened up all of mine. And I've started knitting, and I've knit through day 4. So if you have the kit and you still want it to be a surprise, I would pause and like maybe fast forward just a few minutes while I have it out if you don't want to be spoiled. All right, so let me pull out what I have so far. The cake koozies also work really well for minis. I've actually put 2 minis in here to work on the section where I fade from the one mini to another, and they both fit in the cake koozies really, really well. And I loved Poison on the Rock so much, I kept one for myself because, yes, it's been one of my favorite fabrics so far. So I have day 4 mini in here. Let me take it out. So I started on the Find Your Fate shawl, and it totally looks like a thong whenever you start knitting. I was just laughing to myself about it. So it knits up really quickly, and it's just 2 main sections. One section is a garter section, and then the other section is this little super easy eyelet lace section. And I mean, it's very easy to memorize, to listen to your audiobook or podcast while you're knitting, or watch TV, watch a movie, watch The Mandalorian. Is anyone else completely addicted to Baby Yoda and The Mandalorian? And I mean, I know what the actor looks like, but I gotta see his face. Surely, at some point, we'll be able to see his face. All right, so this is what I'm making with the Hypnotic Yarn Advent Minis. I just started the fourth mini, which is right here. That's my husband. All right, so that's all I have for you today, and I will see you later. Bye.